You're sitting down, you're ready to write your screenplay, but how do you actually do it? Maybe you have never done it before. What could the process look like? And where do you actually start? In this video, we will dig deeper into how to write a screenplay. What I do first is that I brainstorm. I think about characters, the place, theme, the genre, what the story actually about, and what kind of conflict are they facing, and what are the struggles. I also think about the format, like is it a TV show or a film? And I just kind of write down everything I can come up with. Like, I can take inspiration from my own life, something that happened to me, or I watch the news and I get an idea, or I watch a movie and I feel inspired. I mean, I just write down everything like on a blank paper, and I can just, I just write down everything to see what the story actually is about and go from there. I also think about the logline, which is a sentence or maybe two that describes like the main character, like the conflict, the goal, and maybe like the obstacles to reach it. And there's a lot of different formulas on how to write a logline, and which one I use is usually like when a major event happens, a main character must do the main action. That's one. Or it could be when inside an incident occurs, a character type must before stakes. One example of a logline could be for Titanic. A 17-year-old aristocrat falls in love with a kind but poor artist aboard the luxurious, ill-fated RMS Titanic. And I mean, there's a lot of examples of loglines online, and you can just Google it and find some inspiration. One thing I also write is a one-pager. And a one-pager is super hard to write, I think, in my opinion. I can struggle so much in this stage. But here's the thing. You should not write too much detail in that one page because you cannot have that much detail. Because the one page is supposed to like tell the story like the beginning, middle, end, pretty much like summarizing the story to like make you understand what your story is about. So you have it, so you know like it will hopefully hold, like you have those parts before you start working on it. For me, a one pager, I can work on it in a like different stages. First, early on, when you like kind of need to get it down on one paper, but then also have it at the end to actually try to use it to kind of like. But then it would be more like a synopsis, I think, and that's well. Anyway, that's for another video. And then you can work with a beat board, like you can use post-its on your wall and get all the beats for the story out. And this is usually helpful, like I can move between those when I'm gonna write my own one pager. I can work with the beat board and then go back to the one page, and because it can be quite messy in the beginning. But then I also write a step outline, which is like one sentence for each scene. So it will be the whole story, and that's also like the beat board. I usually make them match the beat board with the step outline, so they are kind of the same, but it's more like in a written style. And then there's also the treatment, where you write like one paragraph for each scene. So this would be like a long document, and you don't really write dialogue. So you get the whole story from the beginning to the end, like see if it holds up, if it's a solid story. And then you end up at writing the script. Then you can go from, just look at the step outline of the treatment, and you can just use those for writing your actual story. So it's like you have a recipe, and then you're just gonna start writing. And I mean, it's not easy, but you kind of have the beginning, so you can continue in the screenplay. And then there's also the structure, which is something I usually look at. I don't want to look at it too much in the beginning, because I just want to be like, my mind can work on everything, like go nuts. But then at the end of the day, you need to look at the structure to know that you have like the midpoint, inciting incident. But that's something you can look at with the beat board and the step outline to make sure that you actually have those. Because that's good to look at before you actually start writing your screenplay, because that's gonna take so much time if you're sitting down writing a screenplay and then like, oh my god, the structure is totally off. But the thing though with structure is that I go back to it actually after my first draft, and I might need to rewrite some structure parts. But if you have worked on your structure early on, hopefully don't have to, but you never know like how it actually works on the paper. So maybe you need to move around some of the structure after all. At the end of the day, it's just rewrite. Rewrite, rewrite, rewrite. And you can get feedback from your friends and other writers. And I think it's very important to get feedback, because I don't think you can see all the thing that doesn't work. Like how do other people feel about the story, like what works and not. And then you can get that feedback, and you can rewrite again. So the question is, do you actually need all these documents? No. And I know, like, there's some writers that don't outline at all, and they go right into the story. And it depends on like what kind of person you are. I personally outline. I do not always write a treatment. I usually work with a step outline and a beat board, and then I go to the screenplay. And also like the one pager first, and like brainstorming. But I think I should definitely work on working more with the treatment and then go in, because I think that for sure will save time, because then you can just copy paste the treatment into your screenplay, and then you have like the foundation of the story already there, because the treatment is more detailed than the step outline. The thing I love with the beatboard and the step outline is that you make sure really that you have action and like there's a purpose of a scene right away. But then in a treatment, you can actually see if it works more. So I think it depends on your own writing style and what you prefer. And I think this is something that may be different between different writers, and maybe between different projects as well. If you like this video, please consider subscribing and hit that like button and add a comment. What does your writing process look like? If you want to learn how to use the beatboard in Final Draft, please watch this video. And if you want to be part of my new newsletter, where I'm gonna write down tips and tricks about screenwriting, please see the link in the description box to sign up. I hope you have a nice day. Thank you for being here. Thank you.